No, we had the same experience, people who supported Bernie Sanders. We had very much the same experience where all of a sudden we realized everything we thought about democracy was a lie. That oh my God, the basic premise that kept a lot of people like myself at one time inside the Democratic Party was the premise that the Democrats want what Sanders was advocating, but the Republicans won't let them do it.
Right.
And once you actually, it was the only time in my lifetime that you had somebody representing those policies who had a chance to actually win. And when you saw the lengths that they went to absolutely make sure that he did not become the nominee, much less the president, 16 articles in the Washington Post slamming Sanders in 16 hours, letting Bill Clinton campaign inside of polling stations, just pulling out all the stops, you realize everything I ever believed was a lie. Everything about the media, the Democratic Party, the system itself, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. And for people on the other side who were, Republicans, they had that experience through what they were trying to do to get rid of Trump.
Except the Democrats actually have super delegates.
Yes.
And the Republicans
Well, they
don't.
also have the media.
And yeah. Which is why, it made more sense for Trump to run as a Republican because they didn't have the super delegates to take it away from him. Do you think Bernie Sanders, I know we're getting off topic a little, but do you think Bernie Sanders' campaign for the 2020 nomination was a complete psyop? Now, in retrospect, I think so. I think he was there to make sure there wasn't a stronger third party or an outsider candidate to get in there. And then they knew they could just get him to tuck his tail and capitulate, which he exactly did.
I don't really believe that, even as I am coming more and more to believe that a lot of what we think of as organic are psyops. But no, I think with Sanders, he caught them off guard because think about it. Every election in my lifetime, there's been a Bernie Sanders. There's been that guy who goes up and maybe he gets into the first debate and he drops some truth bombs and the media pats him on the head and says, oh, you did really good in that debate. He was so entertaining. And then he gets 7% and he goes away and he endorses the candidate. So I think that's what they expected. Why wouldn't they? He announced,
but he was talking about the
his
next
candidacy campaign
on the 2020 campaign.
Remember Kerry Lake? Yeah. The guy comes up and says,
you're not talking about 2016.
No, I'm talking about 2020. I'm talking about 2020.
Of course.
Okay, the thing that never made sense to me. The thing that never made sense to me, and it still doesn't make sense to me, and now that maybe we can ask some people who might know, I would love to know an answer to this. When he sat down for that 60 Minutes interview after the landslide Nevada win, even before Anderson Cooper sandbagged him with the Fidel Castro shit, I said, how on earth can anyone worth their salt on this campaign say it's a good idea to go on 60 Minutes this week? You have all the momentum on your side. You are the prohibitive frontrunner. You have to play defense. When you are winning, your job is to sit on the ball and let the time run out. That's all he had to do. You don't go on 60 Minutes to let this, New World Order hatchet man sandbag you with a bullshit Fidel Castro question the week before Super Tuesday when you're up in the... Like, whoever made that decision to put him on 60 Minutes that day may as well have been a saboteur.
Well,
you are either impossibly stupid.
Who is this
you
Peter
are either
Dow?
impossibly stupid to put him on 60 Minutes at that time, or you are there to tank the campaign. And at that time, I thought to myself... Does this guy want to lose? Is he afraid he's going to win and he's going to throw it now at the last second?
His campaign.
That I mean, Russell, you and I had these conversations. We had our tiny little audio show at the time. That made no sense to me ever, and it still doesn't. And I would like to know who on the campaign booked that interview, because whoever booked that intervio is the right person to ask. Was this a psyop?
Okay, we would ask, but Brianna's never coming on our show.
As well have been.
So, I mean, Bernie Sanders' campaign manager, where did he come from, Keaton? He came from the Center for American fucking Progress. That's where he came from.
Oh, the other guy, right? The other guy,
yeah,
right. Faz Shakir. The other guy sold comic books, but then he wasn't the manager the second time.
Oh,
Jeff Weaver.
I'm talking about Faz
Shakir.
That's right. He came right from the Center for American Progress. I mean, do you remember right before the big debate, Bernie Sanders did a rally somewhere, and there was like 10,000 people, and his microphone didn't work, and so he had to scream for a fucking hour and a half. And so when he showed up at the debate, his voice was all shot.
Oh, is that why his voice was shot?
Yeah,
wow.
Yes. And it's like, really? You guys you raised $100 million. You can't get somebody to plug in a fucking microphone?
Whoa, that's like shit Sharon Osbourne would pull on Ozfest.
That's
on other bands.
I mean, that was, to me, that's just as big an obvious insider infiltrator psyop as having him go on fucking 60 Minutes, even bigger. That's right. And then you let him go scream for a fucking hour and a half. You don't go, wait a minute, we're going to get you a microphone. This is fixable. Don't go out there and scream. You got a debate coming up. In the fucking one day, he had a debate coming up. Well, and they let him go out there and scream. And I tweeted about it. Who's the genius inside the campaign? Well, the genius inside the campaign was obviously an infiltrator.
Yeah, 2020, I would entertain that more. 2016, I honestly think they never saw it coming.
Yeah,
he announces his campaign on a lawn with his hair all over the place. They weren't worried about it.
No, it was cute.
2020 maybe,
jokes?
but something else. I mean, not just with Sanders. You know, you look at how just absolutely unserious and incompetent and incapable all of these outsider candidates and organizations are, like the Green Party, for example. And yeah, we know that they send infiltrators into like little neighborhood anti-Iraq war organizations. You think they don't send infiltrators inside any third-party effort to make sure that only the most ridiculous are allowed to survive? And any that might have competent leadership, they're going to send in infiltrators to destroy it from within? Of course they do. They let the Green Party exist because they need some place to channel that 3%.
That's exactly. And why isn't the Green Party fucking grown one bit in the last fucking 12 years? Not one bit. Why do you think that is? Green Party's totally fucking infiltrated.
It's sustainable.
Jill Stein recommended Peter fucking Dowd at Cornell West.
Right.
What does that tell you?
After coercing him into running, and he didn't want to. Look, do what they say, Cornell. You don't know what these people can do.
Yeah.
Remember, this always thing is so interesting that we always see dirty hippies. Before that, peace protesters were normal people, and all of a sudden they don't shower or bathe, and they stink, and everybody hates that. Like that, who would adopt that on purpose for a serious issue?
Well,
that's clearly a thing.
You know what I literally just had delivered here. It just got delivered today. The book. I got a few complaints from Misha last time during the super chats. Weird scenes in the Canyon. It's about Laurel Canyon in the 60s. I knew you would know this.
That doctor they knew, Manson and Whitey Bulger and all the things.
Right.
That's a weird thing that's all connected. That's very strange.
Right. So, yes, like this idea, a lot of people have come to me with this, that the Cultural Congress, this group of intelligence agents and academics basically infiltrated the counterculture from the post-war on.
Why would you not do that?
And manipulated it.
Why would they not do that?
It makes a lot of sense.
So now,
and then you look at songs like the Beatles' Revolution, and it's like, like the most popular band in the middle of the 60s is
like
basically singing these songs like, chill out.
If they push Gloria Steinem in modern art, that means they push rock and roll. I still remember when Billy Joel went to the Soviet Union, there was a big deal about how rock and roll had penetrated Alvin and the Chipmunks when I was a kid. The cartoon is the Chipmunks singing for the wall to come down. That's a valuable, in America, you could do whatever the hell you want. You'd be Rocky. You could be a satanic heavy metal band. Right. We're cool with a lot of stuff.
Well, and this is something worth doing a segment on as well. All of these movies that you see and video games that you play, Call of Duty and these Marvel movies, they're all made with the approval of the Defense Department. That's how they get access to military bases, they get tanks, they get helicopters, and
it's not to recruit even. It's to let. I remember playing them when they came out. Okay, and they would have quotes about all the quotes are these famous quotes about the inevitability of war. So even if you're some fat fuck that ain't going to be able to pass a physical, you're still going to support the guy that can, because you're like, what are you going to do?
Right.
It is what it is. That's how, I mean, Israel survives on that.
Well, that's how, you know, I went to Arlington a few years back as like tour guide training when I was still a tour guide. And I hadn't been there since I was a little kid. And the way it struck me was really as war propaganda. Like that's why it's not out of respect for the veterans. And I'm not disrespecting the veterans buried there, but they're being used for propaganda purposes. That's how Arlington struck me. It struck me they build these big memorials to the war dead so that they can create more war dead. Oh, look how glorious and dignified, and so then you'll sign up, right?
You know that the one Vietnam monument with all the names, I was watching some vet talk about it, and I didn't even realize this until I was watching this guy talk about it, was they had buddies who they couldn't find that got killed, and there's no internet or anything. You can't look anybody up.
Right.
So they had no idea if friends of theirs were alive or dead for that whole time until they could go look up the name on the thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And I wouldn't have thought that because I wasn't there, you know.
Right.
Hey, come see us do a live show in El Paso, Texas, San Antonio, Denver, Colorado, Los Angeles, California, May 19th at the Zephyr Theater. That's a panel show with video. Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Ontario, California, Irvine, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.